What's up, Cellar Dwellers? Last of the installments for Month of Horrors for me. I brought Pam back with me this time. We saved The Exorcist for last, and I must say I'm pretty happy that we did. I don't even really know where to begin. I guess we do the plot summary. Regan is a little girl, and her mom's some famous actor, or actress, I mean, right?
Yeah.
And basically, Regan likes to play with a Ouija board that she found in the closet, and the ghost that she encounters, I don't remember the ghost name. It's like
Captain something.
Captain something, yeah. So before that even happens, I don't want to miss this. You hear like growling in the attic of their house, and the mom keeps passing it off as rats or whatever. So Regan plays with the Ouija board. Mom finds it, and then Regan says, "Captain, whatever, doesn't want you to use it." Movie progresses. Not a ton happens. There's some priests, a lot of backstory, and not backstory, but a lot of preamble to the actual meat and potatoes of this movie. So Regan ends up getting sick, so they call it. They do like old school. It's not old school, but it's old school to us. But it was like a CAT scan, and some other all sorts of stuff for her brain because the doctors are blaming it on a lesion. Nothing happens. They bring up. At some point, the doctor's like, well, you can look into this exorcism done by Catholics and how it's those who believe they can be possessed will be believed that they're no longer possessed by talking with a Catholic priest. Mother freaks out, blah, blah. So this progresses and progresses to where this girl is making the bed shake, opening stuff, closing stuff. The whole room's going crazy. And she's blamed for killing. That was an actor? Is that
the
what?
director
Of the film that the mom was working on. So the sound was fucked on this tape, and I don't know if it's a tape or the VCR, but we could barely hear. So we really had to try to make sense of like the dialogue in this movie. So we think it was the director of the mom's movie that this girl killed, and it wouldn't have been the girl, it would have been the demon that possessed her. So it goes on a little bit more. I mean, there's really, other than that, there's really nothing else you would need to know. Like,
Right.
she's clearly possessed. I think I'm waking Henry up. She's clearly possessed. And this priest that is a very prominent figure in this entire movie, he starts out at the mom's recording for... Remember, he's like in the crowd of her when she's up with the microphone and stuff. So he's in this movie the whole time, and eventually gets called on by the mom to perform this exorcism. He says he can't unless the church approves it. All of this stuff. He eventually ends up finding this guy that was doing some archaeological work in the beginning of the movie that you see. The very opening scene is in Iraq. And this guy's doing archaeological work. Well, he comes back into the movie as the priest to do this. He did it in Africa and whatever. So he ends up performing this exorcism with this girl, this other priest and this girl. The girl ends up killing the older priest, the one that they called on from Iraq. And the priest that's been throughout the entire movie ends up like beating the shit out of her because she's like sitting there laughing. It's not her, it's the demons, but she's sitting there like laughing because look, I killed this priest. And he starts beating the shit out of her with his fist, and he's like, take me, and he turns into a demon real quick and then somehow flies out the window and breaks his neck and dies, which is weird. Why would the demon kill itself? But I guess maybe that's how the possession ends. I guess that's how the exorcism ends. And at the very end, the mom is leaving with Regan, and they're moving out.
Yeah, they're like building a new house the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. So they're moving to their new home. She doesn't remember. She still has some scars and stuff on her, not scars, but like scuff marks and stuff on her face. I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. Doesn't all those other details, like all that story and stuff, I don't really think it matters, right? I mean, that's the gist of the movie. Right. So, what did you think about the creativity? Like, was it creative? Remember, this was not 1974, 1973.
I think it was pretty good for the era was in. You know
That's
what I mean?
freaking.
I mean, it creeped me out.
Yeah. I mean,
I have nightmares.
we'll get to that in a second. The creativity of it. I don't think there's any other Exorcist movie.
There probably is, like, newer ones.
Well, yeah, that doesn't count.
But,
Of that time or before. I don't think there's.
For that time, probably not.
I don't think there's any other. And so what they took, I personally believe that this is possible. This is way over dramatized, clearly, for a movie. But you can read up on this stuff, and they took a ancient practice and put it into a very relevant current movie, and it's fucked up. So I would say it's pretty. What they did with it was extremely creative. They took some would call a legitimate story, and turned it into like one of the creepiest things you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So we both agree that it was creative.
Yeah.
Was I sucked in? Yes. But also no at the same time, and it's because of the tape.
Yeah.
I think the VCR was on the fritz, so I'm going to blame the VCR, not the tape, because the image quality was fantastic, but the sound was awful. So as much as I was sucked in, I was also partially removed, trying to figure out what's what, who's who. But the parts where, like, she's straight up demon, like, I had to pee the entire time, and I wasn't going to go because I didn't want to pause the movie, so I guess I was pretty sucked in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
so
it was pretty good.
they did a really good job building up. I think a lot of the story building up to that, like, I feel like it was necessary, but I also feel like it was unnecessary.
Yeah, some of it was kind of just...
Because the build up to it took forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, take a half hour out of that and just fucking smash us in the face with her being possessed. And I think it would have made it a much better movie, but either way, I enjoyed it. Music and effects, the song, the theme song, the piano. Yeah, I totally forgot that existed, and I've heard it before, but that's the Exorcist. That's the theme.
Yeah.
And it's so reminiscent of Halloween.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know who did the music for this, but John Carpenter did the music. Carpenter did the music for Halloween, and what was the other one? Christine. And those were very similar, but like that. It's like the same song.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than that, there were sound effects that we don't really think about. I caught on to them a couple times. Just like an eerie sound. Like when something's going to come up and it works on you a little bit. So I think they did a really good job with the music. I wish that the theme played... Like, it played at times, like, when they're, like, walking down the street, and he's, like, the priest was thinking, after he left the house the first time, it was playing then. It gave you that creepy feeling. I just don't... Could it have been used differently? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because it doesn't play... I don't think it played in the opening. Or maybe it did. I don't remember. Anyway, I thought it could have been used differently.
I think it did.
Lasting impact, which you just touched on. So Dan's, and I say this in every video, but I don't know who's watched what. So Dan has been using the lasting impact as, will you go to sleep thinking about this and remembering this, having bad dreams because of it. And I've been using it as something, will I remember? And you touched on it a little bit, babe. You said that you're going to have bad dreams or whatever.
Yeah.
Like creepy, like it affected you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. Fucking weird. I had never seen this movie from start to finish, so to see it from start to finish was awesome. One, I won't forget it. Two, a lot of the gaps were filled in for me from what I knew prior. And yeah, I could see laying down and being like mentally chewing on it still. And did VHS matter? So at some point during the movie, it was towards the end, it's when that priest, the one that died from Iraq, when he's walking to the house, like there's like fog everywhere, and when she opens the door to let him, the mom opens the door to let him in to the house, there's just a silhouette of him with fog in the background. The way the VHS, the pixelated VHS, the grainy video with VHS where they placed to that, and there were a couple other scenes, but that was the biggest one. Do you see how? I guess you would personally would have to see it on DVD or on like Hulu or something to see the difference, right?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
But I've seen the difference, and so has Dan, so has George. There's a definite difference. At the same time, the VHS took away from our experience because of the sound
Because the
quality.
sound, yeah.
Like we were really struggling to hear. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
A 9.
A 9, which is also what we gave Christine. But Christine, as a movie, sound quality and everything was much more enjoyable because we didn't have to fight to hear it. So I'm gonna give it an 8. I think a 9's fair, but in our case, it was hard to watch because of the VHS. So by default, by no fault of the movie, an 8. I think it definitely deserves a 9 for a horror movie. That movie was fucked. And I think the child actor, whatever her, I just looked it up, but I think she did an awesome job.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of her voice, clearly a lot of her voice and stuff towards the end would have been computers or however they manifested those voices, but she still had to have that makeup on and like
Right.
do the act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she did a really good job. So Pam gave it a 9, I give it an 8. Between the two of us, it'd be an 8.5. So I hope you guys enjoyed the month of horror. I personally kind of glad it's over. We've watched a lot of horror movies, and now we get to watch whatever we want to watch. So peace out, guys. Thanks for watching.